to the AT Virtual Project Selection event on Big Data and Data Analytics. We will start the event with a presentation of the AT Virtual Project and the Maritime Training Centers involved in the project. Roberto Parondo from CEEI, Covadonga Anton from SASMAR, Mike Gray from Munster University, and João Frade from ENIDH will make a short presentation. We will now present briefly our speakers. Roberto Parondo is the Business Services Coordinator at CEEI Asturias, in charge of Scale-Up, Service for Startups in Asturias, and the EU Projects Unit managing the participation of the organization in transnational collaborative programs. As representative of CEEI Asturias, he is responsible of the AT Virtual Project. Our next speaker is Covadonga Soares Anton, Training Manager at MSTC Jovellanos, Captain of Merchant Marine and Master in Marine Engineering, Coordinator for AT Virtual Team at Jovellanos Training Center. Next speaker is Mr. Mike Grew, heads Maritime Mechatronic Research at the Alpine Research Center, which conducts maritime research on behalf of the National Maritime College of Ireland. NMCI is a faculty of Munster Technology University and its Maritime Safety Training Center. And our last speaker is João Frade, member of the coordinating team of the AT Virtual Project, Captain of Merchant Marine, Professor in Navigation Area. Robert Parongo, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you for this introduction and welcome on behalf of the Asturias as the lead partner of the AT Virtual Project. I want to welcome you and of course thanks your attendance to this selection event that we are starting now. So I'm going to share my presentation. I think you can confirm that you are seeing it, okay? Okay, I think so. Okay, okay. As I said, thank you very much for your attendance to this selection event that has two specific objectives. Okay, on the one hand, what we want to do is try to disseminate, to spread the word about the impact of big data analytics is having currently in the maritime industry, especially in the maritime safety and security. So that's why we are going to have a demonstration workshop on this regard. And also we want to, on the other hand, what we want to do in this selection event is to have international visibility to the startups that are competing today to take up one of the challenges proposed by the Maritime Safety Training Centers that you are going to know after my presentation. Okay, so I hope that you enjoy and find it interesting this event. And just for your information, this session is going to be recorded and we put it at your disposal if you want to see it again. Okay. So
Roberto, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry.
Can you please launch the presentation again, as we are seeing some gray screens on top of your presentation?
Okay.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
It's okay? Okay, sorry. Okay. So I'll continue with my presentation. So basically, what is the AT virtual mission? What we try to do is to contribute to the security and safety, maritime security and safety within the Atlantic space by means of open innovation. Okay, this AT virtual project is funded by the Interreg 5P Atlantic Space Program, which is a European funding program that promotes transnational collaboration among the 36 regions in 5 European countries. So the regions represented in this AT virtual project are Pays de la Loire in France, Southern and Eastern in Ireland, Central and Lisboa in Portugal, and Basque Country and Principado de Asturias in Spain. So the project was initiated 3 years ago, more or less, and it's expected to end in December this year. Okay, so back to our main objective. We want to increase this maritime safety by means of accelerating the digitalization process of the maritime safety training centers. So the centers that have the mission to train elite staff teams that are going to perform emergency operation in very high maritime conditions. Okay? So the introduction, this digitalization process will allow the centers to introduce cutting-edge technologies involved in Internet of Things, big data analytics, and vision technologies in simulation-based training systems in collaboration with startups from the Atlantic space who will act as digital enablers. Of course, this whole digitalization process is going to be assisted by research institution, which also part of our consortium, is a partner of our consortium, and also by experts in the field of digitalization. Okay, so to make it possible, we form a very consistent consortium, integrated or made up of different types of entities. Of course, we count on maritime safety training centers since they are going to be the key actors of this project. They are going to get through the different stages to carry out their digitalization process. And also they are going to collaborate with the startups for the implementation of the solutions. We have 3 maritime safety training centers in our consortium, Sociedad de Salvamento Marítima y Seguridad Marítima Centro Jovellanos in Spain, the Master Technological University in Ireland, and also Escola Náutica Infante Don Enrique in Portugal. We also count on BICS, Business Innovation Centers. They are also very important. They're crucial for the project since they are going to act as national contact points, especially for the startups, encouraging their local community of startups to be part of the project, to participate in the project, especially in the calls. And last but not least, we also count on Research Innovation Center, which is Tecnale Foundation, which is one of the largest European, largest research structures in Europe that, as I said, they are going to assist, they are going to support the centers in the different stages to complete their digitalization process. Okay, so the project has 3 specific phases. The first one is the diagnosis stage, which is, let's say, the start point. Okay, is the picture. Okay, through which we can analyze what is the real state of digitalization of these centers. So for this specific purpose, we develop a self-diagnosis tool that gives us information about the operations processes in different areas of these centers in which the introduction of these technologies, digital technologies, could really make the difference in them. Okay, so this information, this data, combined with interviews and meetings, in this case conducted by the Tecnale Foundations, Tecnalia was capable of defining the challenges that are going to be included in the different calls. Okay, so the next stage is the selection. The selection process is the way that we are going to carry out the pairings, the way that we are going to establish the pairings between the maritime safety training centers and the STARAPs. We also developed an online tool that allows us to not only to launch or to carry out the calls, but also to receive, validate, assess, and proceed with the selection of the best solution according to the criteria of the maritime safety training centers. Okay, and the last one is about the implementation, which is the implementation of the solutions once the teams between the centers and the STARAPs have been completed. Okay? So in order to facilitate the process, we provide then also a specific or dedicated methodology based on open innovation, and also a set of webinars with experts, relevant experts in the field of digitalization, to increase knowledge and also to speed up the process. Okay. So what is the results that we expect to obtain through this project? So probably one of the most important one is a digital solutions tested and worked and set in the facilities, in this case of these centers, that probably are going to contribute to reach our main goal, which is to increase maritime safety and security. We also have an advanced platform that make possible to carry out the whole process, taking into account the three stages that I mentioned before: diagnosis, selection, and implementation of the solutions. We also going to gather all this information, okay, all this work that we developed with these centers, okay, to create an action plan of digitalization in order to stimulate another institution and others maritime safety training centers to initiate their own digitalization process. And probably also is another very good result, okay, that we expect to obtain, is to contribute to strength the real ecosystem of STARAPs in the Atlantic space. So we are going to give an opportunity, a very good opportunity, to the STARAPs, the selected STARAP, to test their technologies, their products in a very real conditions, in working real conditions. And also based on this collaboration, they will be able to scale their current business model and to initiate the growth stage. Just to finish my presentation, I would like to mention as well what the coming up events that we are going to celebrate in the next months. We are going to launch the third call of the ITI Virtual Project based on vision technologies, and also we are going to include another challenges in Internet of Things. And we are going to celebrate the info day about this third call, in which we are going to inform especially STARAPs about how to participate, about how they can submit their solutions to the challenges included in this third call. And also the maritime safety training centers will introduce their own challenges in order so that we can facilitate the process of shaping the solutions by the STARAPs. Okay. And also I want to encourage you to go to our website in order to have further information about the project, and of course to stay tuned with the project through our social networks profiles in LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So that'd be all by my side. Thanks again for your attention, and I'll pass the floor to the next speaker. So thank you.
Thank you, Roberto Covadonga. You have now the floor.
Good morning to all the attendants to this second selection event focused on big data and analytics. Thank you, Roberto, for your nice presentation. Once again, the Jovellanos Maritime Safety Training Center team is excited to participate in this event, looking for a technological solution for one of the needs we find in our daily job. For those of you who didn't have the opportunity to read the complete description of our challenge on the AT Virtual webpage, I will start with a brief introduction about our agency to frame our needs. Sorry. The Spanish Maritime Safety and Rescue Agency was established in 1992, and our responsibility area is about 1.5 million square kilometers, where we have the commitment to ensure maritime safety mainly in 3 responsibilities areas: search and rescue at sea, fight against pollution, maritime traffic safety. For that purpose, 20 operational centers are continuously monitoring the transit of ships along the water in which Spain has jurisdiction. That work includes the record of ships tracking by different sensors. The main source of these records come from the information provided by the radar tracking systems, whose antennas are strategically located on Earth, and also from the ship's transponder, the AIS, Automatic Identification System, whose signals are captured by VHF antennas different from the previous one. During the training of vessel traffic service operators here at Jovellanos Training Center, instructors has identified that in certain areas with high maritime traffic density, the large amount of data using traditional methods could be hiding potential risks to be considered and also trained. The challenge we face is to find a tool that makes it possible to assess the risks arising in traffic concentration situations for usage in the training of the future maritime traffic operators and also supervisors, of course. Facing with this challenge, presented on the AT Virtual website, 4 brave companies have decided to offer us their proposal. I want to thank you, all companies for their dedication to respond to our needs, and I encourage them to continue developing technology applicable to the maritime sector, where there are many fields to explore. I hope all of you enjoy this event, and thank you for your attendance.
Thank you, Covadonga. Mike, you have the floor.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, very good. Okay. Excellent. Bear with me for 1 minute because I'm still setting this computer up and I don't have my slides. In fact, could you present the first slide? We'll do the slides remotely if that's okay.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, Mike, you have the presentation.
Okay, so I've lost the my screen for a moment. Bear with me for one more moment. I'm having a problem with the computer. I can't clear. I have window open and I can't minimize it, so I can't see the screen. I'll assume that you're showing the first slide. So, so the first slide.
Just tell us when to go to the next slide.
Yeah, I will do. So the first slide should be showing a view of an overview of our challenge, which is to improve the feedback that we're receiving. So on that slide, you can see the form, and this is for the benefit of our SMEs who we'll be talking to later. So first, I'm going to very briefly talk about our challenge, and then I'm going to introduce our evaluation team. So the challenge is for us to improve and enhance the feedback that we're receiving at the moment via the form, which is a standard feedback form. And we're receiving feedback about a range of courses, safety training courses, firefighting, sea survival, first aid, and so on. So what we wish to do is to go beyond the information that we can get from the form. And the reason we feel that the form itself is not giving us a full amount of information, if you go on to the next slide, please. Is the next slide on the screen?
Yes, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. So in the scenario that we have a range of candidates who are coming from backgrounds such as they're experienced sea captains, or they might be cooks on board a boat, they might be deckhands on a supply boat, or they might be oil installation managers. All of these people come with very different psychologies and motivations for their training. And for the people who are joining for the first time, they're going to feel an affinity for their instructors, which is going to maybe prevent them from providing any negative comments. For the experienced people who are doing recurrent training, they'll have a lack of motivation to provide any feedback. And finally, of course, at the end of the training session, when they do the feedback and they fill in the form, the last day of their course, they're going to be thinking about catching a transport home. There are a lot of things on their mind that will possibly prevent them from filling in the form as meaningfully as they might otherwise do. So they might have ideas in their mind that they would like to communicate, but they're distracted. So if I could have the next slide, please. And just tell me when it's on the screen, because I can't see the screen at the moment.
You just say next slide and we will change it. You can continue. Don't need to confirm with us, no problem.
Well, no, you have to tell me, please, because I can't see the screen. So I don't know when it's on the screen.
Okay, it's on the screen.
Perfect, thank you. So the screen shows our concept, which is taking, I call it out of the box thinking for feedback. So the idea is that we want to go beyond the feedback system that we have, which is really it's a one-way system. The form is filled in, it goes into a graphic of a suggestions box, a feedback box. From there, who knows? The people filling in the form don't know if their feedback has been acted on, and this is another reason why they might be put off from giving feedback. But we want to go further than the system allows at the moment. So we want to delve into any concerns that they might have, if they have negative comments, and we're really only focusing on people who are giving negative criticism or suggestions for enhancing the course. So we want our system to allow us a way to look at these comments in more detail if it's appropriate, and to use more meaningful information. For example, if a trainee has been involved in a safety event in the past, and that's a much better way of emphasizing a point in training if it's part of a real life testament of a story. So we can gather information like that from our trainees, and also link them to information that might be useful. For example, if they've had a problem with one part of their training, but have been successful overall and have passed the course, but they may feel that they would like to do further training in that topic. So we want our feedback system to be a conduit to them, as well as simply being a one-way path for information to us. Next slide, please.
You have the next slide.
Thank you. So the next slide should be showing a global view of our organization. Can you just confirm that it's a slide that shows a map? It's headed Munster Technological University. Okay, I assume it is. So
Yes, we have that one.
perfect. So really, for the benefit of our SMEs, more than everybody, I just want to introduce our organisation and people who will be joining me on the evaluation panel later. In order to do that, I have to very briefly give an overview of the part of Munster Technological University that you'll be, or the SMEs will be engaging with. Because we're a multi-campus facility, we have furthest afield campuses in Tralee, but the campuses that are of interest to this project are the National Maritime College of Ireland and the main campus, which houses our research centres, which is in Cork City. So the NMCI is the Maritime Safety Training Centre. It is part of the Munster Technological University. And next slide, please.
You have the next slide.
And within the NMCI, we have Halpin Research Centre, the Nautical School, and the Maritime Safety Training Centres. And in fact, we have a centre that deals with the Irish Naval Cadets, also one that deals with commercial students. This would be trainees coming from industrial industry, so trainees who are working with PITO and the International Maritime Organization training service. And then within the Halpin Centre, you can see that we're dealing with a range of research topics that don't include safety training. So I'm a maritime mechatronics engineer myself. So in order to have an evaluation panel that covers maritime safety training, I'll be joined by colleagues who work for the safety training centres, so Ray Johnston and Jim O'Byrne. The final slide, please.
You have the next slide.
Thank you. So the final slide shows our research centre at the main campus, which deals with the Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and I'll be joined by two colleagues who are specialists in those areas, and they'll be helping to evaluate with the chatbot technology. And for the point for managing the project, Halpin Centre will be the coordinator, but we'll be drawing on our colleagues for expert advice. So I hope that information will help for later on. And that's my final slide. So I finish my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay.
And now, João, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. I'm preparing my screen. Okay. Good morning again. I will try to be fast. So this is ENID. ENID is a public polytechnic higher education institution. Was founded in 1924, and it is the only public higher education institute dedicated to the training in maritime ports. Here are our facilities, and our campus is located in Passo de Arcos since 1972, in front of Tagus River. We have many facilities for maritime training, student residence, simulators, workshops, gyms, labs, so on, so on. Sorry. We have two departments in our institution with 5 undergraduate courses and 2 graduated courses. We also provide all required maritime certification course for seafarers. The maritime training course, sorry, this one, The maritime training course must comply with all legal requirements defined at an international level. The main training requirement, as you can see, is the International Convention on Standards of Training Certification and Watch Skipping. The course are approved and audited by various organizations, and the main organizations are National Maritime Administration, European Maritime Safety Agency, and National Higher Education Accreditation Agency. So the main problem to require the development of the application is simplify this process of fulfillment requirements. The application will provide better evidence of compliance with legal requirements in certification process and future audits. The application shall be able to import and export the information regarding the comparison of content and contact hours, and you can see some technical requirements for our challenge: the data input, the reading format, the update to data set, and the user interaction. The expected outcomes of our application will be create different reports to check the compliance or any remark in maritime training course. And of course, the program must generate historical records and shall be able to carry the user and learn from these interactions. Sorry. No, it's okay. And I try to make my presentation very fast to try to keep the schedule. So thank you very much for your attention, and for my side, it's done. Thank you.
Thank you, João. We will start the next panel in a few minutes. Please stay with us. Thank you. next presentations will be on big data and data analytics. First intervention will be by Professor Fernando Bassão. Fernando Bassão is full professor at Nova IMS, Universidade Nova de Lisboa, where he served as Associate Dean, Director of Magic Research Center, and Director of the Doctoral Program in Information Management. He holds a PhD in Information Management and was a visiting professor at the Geoinformatics Institute at the University of Münster in Germany and at the National Institute for Space Research in Brazil. Fernando, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Let me just share my screen. Okay, I think you're seeing my my screen now. So first of all, let me start by saying that it's a huge pleasure and an honor to be invited to give this talk here. I want obviously to thank the consortium, specifically ENID, and more specifically João Carlos Frade for the invitation to be here today. So as I was saying before we start the session is called Inspirational Talk. So this is a tall order. Let me see if I can inspire some of you. Hopefully I'll be able at least to provide you some food for thought during this quick presentation. So I'm going to talk a little bit about or mostly about the relevance and the importance of data. I think it's something that it's not always obvious when we talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data. And I want to emphasize that part. And then after that, I will talk about some examples of the impact of data and these new technologies in the maritime industry. I also had the opportunity, luckily, during the last few years to participate in some projects with the Naval Academy in Portugal. So I have some experience, and I'll try to share with you guys some of the main difficulties or challenges that we faced during these projects. So let me start by just provide you some context. Obviously, this is well known for everybody, but it's always important for us to recognize some things. And the first thing is that obviously computation has evolved very significantly during these last 70 years. We now have in our pockets much more computational power than the Apollo mission had to land on the moon. So we carry in our pockets machines which are 1,000 times more powerful than the computers at the Apollo mission. So this is obviously very impressive. One of the particular aspects that is also very impressive nowadays is the dissemination of sensors in our day-to-day life. Sensors are everywhere. We have here a graphic of the evolution or the projected evolution of the sensor market. But we, in our day-to-day life, we use these sensors every day. Sometimes we even forget about these sensors. So when we use our mobile phone, obviously it's full of sensors. When we use our wristbands, it's obviously a sensor. When we use our credit cards or debit cards, again, these are sensors. So many of our very simple and prosaic day-to-day actions are getting captured by some database. Now, obviously, this diffusion of sensors has led to what is now called the growth of the digital universe. It's not so much the relevancy of knowing the size of the digital universe, but it's important to understand that it continues to grow exponentially, and mostly due to these trends that I was speaking before, the miniaturization of computing, and also the widespread use of sensors. This ability to get a digital copy of our real world, or to translate what we do in the world of the atoms into bits and bytes, has provided many significant changes in our in the way we do things. So, for instance, we all know that when we go into an airplane, that most of the flight will be controlled by a machine, not by a pilot. And this is something that it's good, because as you can see in the upper right, in the upper left corner of my slide, nowadays 80% of the crashes of airplanes are due to human causes, human errors, not machines. And so machines tend to have this characteristic, which is very nice when you enter into a plane, is that they are completely consistent. And they will always do the same thing given certain circumstances. Now, I was talking about airplanes, but this talk is about vessels mostly, right? So the same thing happens in vessels. Nowadays, vessels are very sophisticated machines, and the command bridge is basically a big computer that allows the pilots to direct the vessel. We even have nowadays these autonomous boats, like this example here, which is called the Falco. And so the Falco is an autonomous ferry that recognizes everything in front of him. Apparently, the only thing that didn't went well in the test runs was the inability of the vessel to recognize elks swimming in the sea, but I'm sure this is not so frequent. We even have nowadays autonomous vessels which are fully electric. So this, I think, will be a tendency that in the future will become more and more important. So I suppose that in most of our companies and activities in the future, we will have something like this, something like the NASA Mission Control Center to direct our activities, to make decisions, to basically go from a context in which intuition is king to a context in which information or decision based on data will be the most important factor. Now, these sessions are also related with big data. Big data is a buzzword, a concept that appeared fairly recently, and it's important to consider why do we use this term big data. Because before we use the term big data, we already had big data. We already had big databases. The thing is that what justifies talking about big data is mainly two things. The first one, so for me, big data is anything that doesn't fit into Excel, right? But big data appeared mostly because the computational paradigms that we were using were not enough, or were not efficient anymore to deal with this deluge of data that we live in today. And so computation had to upgrade these concepts and these paradigms in order to face this huge amount of data that we are storing today. The second part, which is also important, is so typically, probably most of you know, when we talk about big data, we talk about these 3 V's: volume, size of the data, velocity, the velocity at which the databases grow, and variety. And this variety thing is also very important, because we are very good at analyzing data which comes in a table with numbers, and we know what each column represents. But nowadays, most of the data that we have is not so well behaved. It's not really data in tables in which we know what are the variables that we are looking into. So nowadays, a lot of the data that we have is video data, text data, things that are much more challenging to analyze and to extract meaning than the typical Excel table. Big data is what So this is the composition of the big data world. Big data is also what Spotify and other companies are dealing with. So for instance, these are the numbers of Spotify some months ago. Spotify has 172 million paying subscribers, 381 active users monthly. They manage 70 million songs, and they have 4 billion playlists. And with all of this wealth of data, which is obviously a huge challenge to manage, they are able to produce Discover Weekly. I don't know if you know what Discover Weekly is, but it's basically a playlist that Spotify builds for every user, which is a playlist adequate to your listening habits. And I'm not sure if you ever used it, but the first time I used Discover Weekly, I was really, really impressed because it was very accurate and it was very attuned to my listening habits and preferences. So it's a very, very impressive company, a very good example of how big data can be used to leverage a business. Another example is Didi Chuxing, which probably is not so well known as Spotify, but you can think of Didi Chuxing as the Uber from China. In fact, Didi Chuxing was the company that basically bought Uber out of China. And this is a company with 61 million monthly active users. It does around 60 million daily trips. And just in terms of active drivers, licensed drivers working for the company, they have upwards of the Portuguese population. So 15 million active drivers per year. So you can imagine the difficulty of managing such a complex information infrastructure, especially if you want to use this information as a leverage to improve the quality of your services, to improve your ability to compete in the market. So these are examples of what advanced companies, I would say so, are doing nowadays to take advantage of data and to develop their businesses. So I suppose that the main challenge, and in this case, is not the main challenge of data scientists. Is the most important challenge of our generation is to be able to leverage the data that we are able to collect in order to improve the quality of our decision making. And as you can see here, this is obviously just an example. The blue line represents the data that we are able to use, and the green line is the data that we have available, but we are still not able to incorporate in the decision processes of our society. And so the more we are able to close this gap between the data that we use and the potential data that we can use, obviously, the more sustainable, the better will be the growth of our societies. So I suppose that you all agree with me that big data leads to better decisions, or I hope so. But I want to go a little bit further into this topic because I think it's important, and sometimes people miss this point. And so I want to emphasize this. So artificial intelligence, to a certain extent nowadays, not in the beginning, but nowadays, comes from the meeting of these two main trends or ideas: models and data. Models are based on the computational power that we have today, and also in our ability to create intelligent and elegant solutions to use math to solve problems. Data comes from what I already talked about, the sensors that we have everywhere nowadays. And the meeting of these two trends gave us the opportunity to solve problems that we weren't able to solve so far. Now, typically in academia, and I think in general terms, we can say that models tend to be the most, or people tend to consider the most important aspect here, which is we can think of models as the brain, the idea that we have to solve the problem. And data seems to be considered something necessary, but not so relevant. And for us in academia, when we publish a paper, we typically have to produce a new model. But I think that nowadays we are starting to understand that data and the quality of data is much more important than the models that we produce. And let me try to convince you of this point. I think it's relevant and important. Today, we know that data is the bottleneck for the development of new and important solutions for the problems that we have. In fact, there's a saying in data science, which is the unreasonable effectiveness of data, that basically states that simple models and a lot of data trump more elaborate models based on less data. So what this means is that if we have good quality data in large quantities, the models that we have available today will be able to solve problems that we were not yet able to solve. So this is a very important aspect. It's not so much that we need new models. What we need to solve many of the problems that we have is to have better data. So the situation today is this one. We have very fast and nice models. As you can see here, all these Ferraris here. What we sometimes don't have is the fuel, in other words, the data, to put these to work. Okay, and I think this is the challenge that we have today. Although we have a lot of big data, as I was saying before, we sometimes don't have the data that we need to put these to work. And the fuel that we need is what is called labeled data. Okay, and this is a very important aspect. We tend to use or tend to have a lot of data, but in most cases, labeled data is what we need, and labeled data is what is scarce. So for instance, if I'm deploying a model or developing a model to know or to make a distinction between dogs and cats, it's fundamental that I have the labeled data to provide the model, because models in machine learning learn like the same way that we do. They learn empirically. They learn based on experience. And labeled data is the experience that we need to provide the models in order to make them as accurate as possible. If we don't have this type of data, then in most cases, the models that we produce won't be very good. So this is an example. I don't know if you heard about Watson, a very important machine. In this case, it was a full computer that was used to impress the world by winning a TV show, which is called Jeopardy. And after this big success, or this media success of IBM, IBM decided to deploy Watson in the healthcare industry. And so far, the expectations were not met. In fact, in most cases, they were significant failures in the application of Watson. And most of these failures came from the fact that we didn't have the data to provide the machine, or in this case, the models, to produce the results we were hoping. And so in most cases, the lack of effectiveness of these models were due to the lack of data to fuel its potential. If you look at this table, you can see on the left column a year that represents the year of the breakthrough in artificial intelligence that you have in the second column. Okay, so for instance, the first one comes from '94 and is the human level spontaneous speech recognition. The third column represents the date in which the data set used for this development was available. And the fourth column represents the date in which the algorithm that was used for this breakthrough, for this development, was available. And what we can see here is that in general, the models that we are using for these developments, they are old compared to the data. So for instance, As you can see here, probably you know this one from 97, the IBM Deep Blue machine used the data set that was available in 91, and the algorithm used was from 83. The next one, the data was from 2005, and the algorithm from 1988. So if we average this out, we can see that on average, the data sets had 3 years and the algorithms 18 years. So this goes back to my point that the real bottleneck for us to be able to improve the quality of our artificial intelligence models is not so much the algorithms, but much more the data that we have available today. This is yet another example of the same, and this is a very impressive example. This is a competition, or the data from a competition called ImageNet Large Scale Visual Recognition Challenge. And this was started in 2010 and was the brainchild of a researcher from Stanford that decided that instead of doing models or building models in her academic career, she was going to build the best possible data set for image recognition. And she had a lot of difficulties, but eventually in 2010, she was able to put up the data set together and started the competition. And I think you can see the graphic here clearly. What we can see is that in the first year of the competition, the best team got 25% of the classification of images wrong. So when I'm talking about image classification, I'm talking about showing a picture to a model and the model being able to say that this is a cat, this is a dog, this is a car, whatever. You get the idea, right? And so in the first year, the best team got 25% of the pictures wrong. And as you can see, the improvements were very, very significant. The other point that it's important to emphasize is that in 2012 was the first time that a deep learning model was presented in this competition. And as you can see, it improved very significantly over all the other teams. So in this case, the error was not only below 25%, but was along the lines of 40% better than the next best model. And as you can see, all these 7 years, the models kept improving. And eventually in 2017, the competition stopped because most 29 out of 38 teams were getting less than 5% wrong answers, which means that these models perform the classification of images better than we could do, better than we humans could do. So these models have a lower error rate than we would have if we were to classify these images. So this is yet again goes to speak to the difference or the potential that having good quality data has in order to improve the ability of the models to perform well their tasks. So this gave rise to a full industry of data. So now we have data factories in which basically what these companies do is to label data in order to make the data available for machine learning and artificial intelligence models. Okay. So now I want to talk very quickly and very briefly, because I think my time is probably not, I have not been checking my time. Nuno, if you can, please let me know if I'm very,
Yes.
How much do I have?
Your time ran out already.
Oh, okay. So sorry, I'll go very quickly through this. Okay. So maritime applications are many and very different. So as we talked before, vessels are very evolved machines nowadays, very sophisticated machines with multiple sensors. And all this data is possible, or it can be used for the development of models. The maritime applications that I know, I box them into four main categories, which are not really different because some of these applications go into more than one of these boxes. But I would say that maritime surveillance, energy efficiency, intelligence route planning, and vessel performance and maintenance will probably be the four main topics of the application of machine learning into the maritime industry. So the first, which is very popular and important, is the ability to manage, let's say, manage traffic in the sea. I have here examples. I provided the links to the papers in which the examples are explained. So if you're interested, please use them. All of these are scientific papers, so you can use them to if you have any interest in these specific applications. So the first one is this maritime surveillance and the managing of traffic in the sea. I've worked in some of these types of projects, but I'm not going into detail into this because I'm already out of my time. The second one, which is also very important, is not the use of data from the vessels, but the use of remote sensing data to target, to detect things in the sea, like oil spill detection, debris detection, even directing fishing activities to certain areas in order to be able to keep a sustainable exploration of these fisheries, and also to know where you want to get your boat to because you have fish there. In terms of energy efficiency, I think a lot of the applications are related with managing the optimum speed of the vessel, taking into consideration the service level agreements, also the routing planning. These are the main topics and the most important areas of research as far as I know. Again, I've developed a project with the Naval Academy to define intelligent routing for the patrolling of the Portuguese exclusive economic zone. As you know, it's very, very big. So it's a challenge for the Portuguese Navy to be able to do this effectively. Finally, I think one of the most important or interesting parts is vessel performance, and most importantly, condition-based maintenance. Based on all the sensors that the vessels have today, it's possible to monitor the condition of the material and be able to manage the maintenance of the vessel based on this information. This obviously has very significant benefits, very important economical benefits. It's something that a lot of people are trying to do, and I think that this area has improved a lot over the last few years. Again, I've also been involved in one of these in a project which basically monitored the Vasco da Gama class vessels and the need for maintenance in these boats, and the ability to predict when to perform maintenance due to the conditions of the material. And finally, I just want to thank you, all of you. I want to apologize for taking more time than I should. I'm sorry about that. I hope this was interesting to you. If you have any questions, any comments, or if you want to collaborate with us or discuss any possible future collaborations, please just let me know here on the chat or eventually through email, which is available in my first slide of the presentation. Okay, thank you very much. And I'm going to stop sharing the presentation now.
Thank you, Fernando.
Nuno, just one thing. I wasn't able to monitor the chat. I'm not sure if there are any questions for me.
No, not so far.
Okay, good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second intervention will be by Professor Miguel Neto. Miguel de Castro Neto is Associate Dean at Nova Information Management School, where he is Associate Professor. Created and leads the Nova Cidade Urban Analytics Lab and directs the Master in Information Management and the postgraduation programs in smart cities and in business analytics for hospitality and tourism. He was Secretary of State of Spatial Planning and Nature Conservation and Smart Cities Personality of the year 2017, developing his research and teaching work in the area of business intelligence and smart cities, and highlights to the direction of Nova IMS Master of Knowledge Management and Business Intelligence, currently ranked as the best master program in business intelligence in the world by the ED Universal International Ranking, where he teaches business intelligence curricular units. Miguel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be today here this event, and I will try to build upon the inspirational thought from my colleague Fernando Bassão. And so I will try to show some examples on how we can also at an organizational level move forward, take advantage of big data and data analytics, and present some projects that nowadays we are developing at Nova Information Management School with some of the partnerships that we have. The first question, or the first point that I would like to stress, is the fact that today we are no longer speaking of just improving the efficiency of the operations of in our organizations, but also to face a huge challenge, which is how can we look at this space of opportunity that digital transformation presents to us in order to transform the organizations and to take advantage of new possibilities. And that is probably the biggest and hardest challenge, because we need to be creative and we need to think about new products and services that were not possible to be achieved before, either because we didn't have the data or because we didn't have the technology to move behind just having some pilot or some very interesting research projects, but how can we put this to work and to be fully implemented in our organizations? And this is what we try to address when we think about business intelligence and analytics. How can we have a holistic and integrated approach to data governance in order to take advantage of this opportunity to improve decision-making in organizations, and that can lead to better decisions and to actions being taken. And this is a huge challenge, because what we know is that most of the times organizations are able to move forward with projects and pilots, but then there is a challenge on how can this be fully integrated and productized at the organization level. This idea of business intelligence and how we can create value from data in the organizations is in fact supported by the need to move from data that traditionally is collected in the operational systems on the left. These operational systems, they are not, it's not a question of just having several data sources that we can take advantage of, but also the way the data is organized. It's organized to support transactional efficiency and to provide information for everyday business activities. And when we think about using this data to support decision-making, we have to move forward in building a different way of organizing this data in what we call the data warehouses. And these data warehouses use a dimensional model where we are storing data over time. So it has always present an historical dimension, and the data is optimized for querying and not for transactional purposes. And the data is not volatile. So I'm not going to change that data. I'm just going to perform operations of analysis, and we are going to deliver this to the end users that have to make decisions. And this typically is done using reporting, dashboarding, and those kind of artifacts. But what is really challenging is that this is a train that is moving forward at a very high speed, and we are now facing a new reality where these business intelligence platforms and these analytical capabilities are not only target to the technical staff that works with business intelligence, but has also already impacted the analysts in the different organizations with self-service BI, and now is coming to a point that everyone can be an end user of these platforms. Meaning what? We are now capable of providing access to integrated repositories of data that can be, in fact, used by anyone to perform analytical activities and to create their own artifacts for decision support and information delivery. And as I said, this is moving forward very quickly. Fernando Bação has already presented us some of the evolutions that we are facing. We typically are very focused in organization in using this kind of business intelligence and analytics approach to deliver descriptive analytics, such as dashboards using data warehouses. But we are now coming to a point that we can, in fact, take advantage of big data and also moving forward in the value chain of information, and not only providing descriptive analytics, but also start to predict and prescribe information for decision making using more sophisticated and advanced analytical capabilities. And this is probably where we are today. And so we are now starting to see an opportunity to explore this new reality where the business intelligence architecture in the organization is not only going to bring data from the transactional processing systems, but is also going to take advantage of external data, of big data. And we have to combine in our analytical processes the access to data warehouses, but also to raw data in different formats. And also very important to think that our business intelligence platform and our analytical capabilities are no longer constrained by the local infrastructure, but we can combine on-premises capabilities with cloud services, creating a completely different scenery where we can perform really sophisticated analytics, and this can be put to service to different profiles of the organization, moving forward from just thinking that data scientists can use this new reality, but other people in the organizations can take advantage of this. Of course, this always poses a question, which is, do we have the necessary skills to take advantage of these new possibilities and make a proper use of it, and knowing what are happening behind the scenes? And I would like to share with you just an example of what this means, in this case, using the Nova Cidade Urban Analytics Lab as the context. And this is a project that we are completing now. It's called the Urban Co-Creation Data Lab. It's not an application to the sea, but it's an application to a city. It's a project that is financed by the European Commission, and it happens in Lisbon. And we have been studying or trying to solve challenges from the city, and with a goal. we are building analytical models, but in the end of the day, these analytical models are going to be integrated in the Lisbon Intelligence Platform. So giving this Lisbon platform not only the capability of understanding what is happening in right now. So in this case, we are speaking about the Lisbon bike sharing system, and we are able to provide operational information regarding what is the status of the system, what is using the so-called descriptive analytics approach. Right now, we can see and take decisions upon what is happening at any given station of the Gira network, and to understand also what is the happening in the different stations, so that we can look into the occupation in order to use this to improve the quality of services, to guarantee that there are bikes available when the users look for them. But this is everyday business, and this is what already the municipality had, Lisbon. And on top of this, we used AI in order to improve the knowledge and to predict what is going to happen in the next 3 hours, so that the municipality could optimize the number of bicycles in each stations, so that there was never the danger of having 0 bikes available for the users in the next 3 hours. And this is what we are doing today, trying to bring this kind of capabilities to the operational platform of the city. And we have been doing this in the context of this project, not only for bikes, but also for accidents, for pollution, for illegal parking, for waste management. And this is what we are doing. Why am I bringing this to the discussion here on this presentation? In fact, we can today take advantage of very sophisticated analytical capabilities in the context of everyday applications that we have at our disposal in organizations. I was going to present an example with text analytics, but given the content shared by Fernando Bassão, I'm going to use, instead of text analytics, image tagging. Let me see if I can share the right. Okay, so this this is the interface of Power BI, a leading tool in the field of business intelligence and analytics by Microsoft. And what I have done is that I have loaded in this Power BI. BI stands for business intelligence, of course. And I have uploaded here a data set that has only 15 rows, and each row has an ID and an URL of an image. And so I can present here in this dashboard the images. These images could be changing over time, or I can have a batch of images that I want to tag. And to tell you that this today is something that is easily done by any person without no knowledge in data science. And if you look here on the right side, this is the transformation tool of Power BI. We have here AI insights, artificial intelligence insights, and we can invoke any of these capabilities to the context of a project. I'm going to call for Vision Analytics as a service from Microsoft. It's going to present me what are the different capabilities available to be used by the user, and tag images. I will need to identify what is the field that has the images. I'm not going to define the language. It's going to apply changes. It's going to start to ask me the questions of privacy, since I'm sending information over the web, and is now analyzing each one of the rows, and is going to return what if the tags that it finds. Let me see. Okay, continue. Okay, it's done. And let me see. you should not do this kind of presentations, but we shall see if we are able to be successful. Okay, so for each image, now I have the tags of the images and the degree of confidence that the algorithm gives to those images. And if I go back to my dashboard, now I can use the result from that analysis to give the user, you see, and in just a few minutes, I was able to tag these images without any need to program nothing. Of course, this comes with a price, but to tell you that I can do this, I can do sentiment analysis, key phrases extractions, run AI models without a very user-friendly interface that allows me to move forward very quickly. And this is what we are trying to explore today, not only to take advantage of data science and artificial intelligence, but understand how we can bring that to the organizations, trying to, shall I say, democratize the possibilities that are now open, and with the notion that today the question is of have we the skills, have we the creativity to take advantage of that. In that scope, we saw as an opportunity for our school also to move forward in the area of the sea. And we are now starting a project in the collaboration with the Instituto Hidrográfico entitled Maria. It's for the Portuguese-speaking, this is a game with words, because Maria is a very common name in Portugal, and we can play with it because it's Mar, sea, and AI, the artificial intelligence. And in this project, what we are trying to bring together is the strengths from Instituto Hidrográfico with the data that they collect and that they manage, with the skills from data science that we have in the Nova Information Management School, in order to create a space of collaboration and co-creation for new products and services, information products and services for this area. This is very aligned with the other presentations that we already saw here in this workshop. But in fact, we are doing this, create a collaborative analytics platform, trying to work also in the dimension of the skills necessary to take advantage of this, and to promote innovation in this area. And so this project Maria has several steps: construction of an analytical platform that supports this ambition for integration, support, storage, analysis, and presentation of the results, to have a sandbox that can be shared and used by the entities or people that wants to collaborate, and then to, of course, create new products and services that can be of interest for the governments, for the academia, for society, for companies. But at the time being, what we are trying to move forward is to also to have some hackathon based initiatives, and for the time being, we have identified several possible challenges, like risk forecast of bathing accidents with AI, monitoring submerged aquatic vegetation with remote sensing. This is a proposal from Professor Fernando Bassão, knowing the seas, celestial charge, crowdsourced beach apps. So we are trying to take advantage of this. And in this context, we are also looking at the new opportunity that the digital twins and the use of mixed reality approaches to interact with the results from the analytic approach that we can build. And this is also done in our Nova Cidade. We are trying to explore this in the context of the cities, and we are now looking also how this can be applied in the context of the sea. Another project with a...
You have 3 minutes to conclude. Thank you.
I will conclude in 3 minutes. Another project to share, it's entitled Smart Beach. This is a project that is, in fact, run by the National Maritime Authority and the Oeste Intermunicipal Community. And we were invited to work in this project, trying to deliver some analytical capabilities. So the idea of the Smart Beach, which is aligned with an initiative from Oeste Smart Region, or from Oeste Intermunicipal Community, which is the Smart Region ambition that they have, and to look at the opportunity that data-driven approaches can bring to the management of beaches and using the Oeste as a pilot area. So we are working in 7 different beaches in the Oeste region of Portugal, and in these beaches we are trying to see how can we improve the safety and surveillance conditions, improve the protection of users in these spaces, support planning of berthing areas and beaches, and provide real, relevant and up-to-date information to all the stakeholders. We run a benchmark on what are the products and services available, since information regarding environmental conditions in the beaches and other more sophisticated approaches that deliver more information, even transactional services to the users of the beaches. And we are exploring some solutions that can be put into place, since monitoring occupation, trying to predict or understand the drivers of accidents in beaches and so on. And to tell you that for the time being, we have already explored the dimension of economic activities that can be installed in the different beaches, creating a decision support system to facilitate that process. There are several restrictions to the development of economic activities in the beaches, and so this is quite important for the economical dimension of the project. And we are now in these 7 beaches installing cameras for tracking occupation, people, cars, bicycles, UV sensors, public Wi-Fi, and also initiatives towards data collaboration, because it is fundamental to bring to this space not only the data that we are capable of using, but also to establish partnerships in accessing more data to enrich the potential of the analysis. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Miguel. The second panel of presentations is completed. We will be back for the startup competition in a few minutes. We will now start the startup competition. The next presentations are the responsibility of startups that were qualified for the selection event. The startup Better Maps will be presented by Paulo Viejo. Paulo Viejo is an expert on smart and sustainable cities and formerly the General Administrator of EDF Singapore and the Director of their Center of Excellence of Asian Sustainable Cities. Paulo has been Fellow of the World Cities Summit Young Leaders, an author of numerous scientific papers on smart cities, modeling and simulation. Architect by training, Paulo lectured at the National University of Singapore, as well at the Strade École de Design in Singapore and other educational institutions like HESEC Asia on the topics of smart cities, GIS, and simulation. Pablo, you have now the floor. We will ask some few seconds. We have lost Pablo. Just a second, please. Thank you. Okay, Jose Antonio, we will jump to you until we recover back Pablo. Okay, we will do a short presentation of your bio. Okay, 1 second.
Thank you.
Next startup, Coinsys, will be presented by Jose Antonio Munoz Antuña. Jose Antonio Munoz Antuña is the CEO of Coinsys, a recent tech company dedicated to the development of solutions based on data analytics, machine learning, and IoT. Experienced industrial engineer and entrepreneur, he is also the founder of Aula de Estudios Técnicos Gauss, a company specialized in training in new technologies. Jose, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Presenting Coinsys. I'm going to share my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes, can you just put it in presentation mode, please?
Can we start?
Yes, you can start.
Thank you. Well, first, let me take a look at the Coinsys beginnings. Pass our slides. I have a problem with the presentation. Okay. May I start once?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Right. First, let me take a look to the Coinsys beginning. Coinsys starts from a student center, and this is something we have in common with the proposer of this call. We know quite well how a student center operates. In 2012, we found DAOS, a student center dedicated to helping university students, mainly in technical studies, computer science, technologies. And a few years later, with my collaborators in Gauss, sorry, we founded a technological-based company, Coinsys, for applying that we were teaching in Gauss to the practice. From the beginning, the activity of Coinsys was focused mainly on the development of solutions for small and medium-sized enterprises, applying the most innovative technologies like machine learning, big data, cloud computing, and computer vision. We have made works in several areas like agri-food transformation, logistics and distribution, and health and care. On the other hand, we have developing our own product, a system for analyzing the production parameters of a small-scale industry in order to improve the competitiveness by the analysis of the data, obtain the knowledge for data analysis. We have also applied to several open innovation calls in which we have highlighted Estes Food 2021 with an intelligent system of the management of a small cheese factory, and Industria 4.0 Open Innovation, the ENCE Challenge with an intelligent management system for the timber yard that was selected for the final round. Along this path, the foundational team of Coinsys is formed by myself, José Antonio Muñoz, Raúl Gómez, software engineer and experienced in connectivity solutions.
You have 30 seconds.
And data management, and Nerea Valdés, a software engineer experienced in user interface solutions. We are also proud to say that we have the collaboration of the University of Oviedo through Cristian González, assistant professor, and the Group of Electronics for Industrial Innovation led by the Professor Fernando Muñoz García. And this is all from my side. Thank you for your attention and have a good day.
Thank you, Jose. Pablo, I hope you are with us again.
Yes, so let me see if we can share because it's, I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can share your presentation. Let me know when you're ready.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see. Can you just enlarge to the presentation mode?
It's the same presentation mode right now. So are you seeing presentation mode or?
No.
Okay. Wait a moment. Try again. Yesterday was working as always, but today. Now?
Yeah, now it's correct.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
So when you tell me.
You can start.
Okay. So yeah, thanks. Yesterday was working. So my name is Pablo Viejo. So I'm the CEO of Better Maps, a Spanish startup. So from Asturias, that is dedicated to create beautiful, proper, and unique map and geospatial design applications. We have been recognized as a technological innovative by the government of Asturias, and we have received some funding for that this year. So what we do is actually we want to take advantage of the latest technological innovations to create tools and methods that allow digital cartography to achieve better quality by improving design trustworthiness and uniqueness. So we use no-code tech applications to develop online solutions where you can create, edit, analyze data in forms of maps, map designs, and we provide data analytics, map design improvements, and quality assessment using artificial intelligence technologies. So our four pillars, as we say, artificial intelligence. where you can analyze how good is your map, if you have some issues, if the representation is good, the data is simple to see. So there is as many semantic issues that we want to improve. We add trust to special information because many times when you have data, you don't know how good this data is, and you don't know if you can trust it or not. So we are developing tools that allow the people to see if this data is of good quality or not. And we develop unique designs for each client, everything in one connected platform. So with the use of this technology that we are developing in our startup, we are able to create in a very simple manner, in a very fast way, geospatial data applications, where what we want to achieve is the finest design. So it means the design of the quality of the maps and the data presented is the easiest to make it simple to understand and to analyze. The best performance because we optimize for big data and modern browsers. So mainly technology is based on web technology because it's the most easy to spread and use without much issues, and we can update in a simple manner. We use our geospatial expertise that is more than 20 years working with the spatial data analytics. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo. Our next startup is Stat and More, presented by Benoit Riot. Benoit Riot is the owner and CEO of SAR Stat and More. After 16 years of experience as a statistician in different market research companies like Merieux Nutriciencia, Sinovat, and Ipsos, working at worldwide level, Benoit created Stat and More in 2013 in France. Stat and More is a statistical agency providing service in data processing, statistical consultancy, data coaching, and automation. Statistical tools in R or Python, reporting, and dashboarding. Benoit is also a temporary teacher in License 3 Lyon 2 in Statistical and Business Intelligence, and for the CNAM Le Mans in the Data RH model for License 3 in Human Resources Management. Benoit, you have the floor.
Can you see correctly the screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Benoit Riot, engineer in food industry, specialized in sciences and methods for decision, and currently CEO of my own company. Stat and More is a company that I've created in 2013 after being IT manager, statistical modeler, data scientist in a worldwide group of 50 people in different companies, and lastly, deputy CEO for Ipsos Observer France. Within Stat and More, we try to work as much as we can with open source solutions. If necessary or compulsory, we are able to work with other solutions like Microsoft, as we are a Microsoft developer partner. Stat and More provide 5 services: data processing, statistical consulting, training, and automation, which is used to process data automatically, feed a database, edit a report, create function in Python, or lastly, package statistical function to specific customer needs. Data coaching is our last service where we help our customer to put in place best practices in their own company, from data collection to data visualization via databases flow and data manipulation. Stat and More is composed by a great team of 5 people. I'll focus on Alexis Lax, who will be in charge of the project we currently defend. Alexis is a data scientist from Polytechnic School in Paris. His technical skills consist in developing and deploying complex production-level machine learning models tailored to business use cases, as well as incorporating DevOps best practices at every stage of a data science project lifecycle. We used to work with different kinds of customers. First, with market research agency on surveys, statistical needs like typology, scoring, or reporting automation, customer alerts. Then institutional and association on different surveys on mental health, tourism, experimental design, employees, psychology risks. And lastly, with Private Group, we used to run full survey with report on product innovation, quality control, on services delivery on industrial processes, B2B satisfaction surveys, or develop intelligent artificial predictive model on time series data. This business case is focused on data coaching and automation experience with one of our customers. The main problem of our customer was a lack of data centralization, which caused loss of time to find up-to-date data. Computation was specific by teams, so output and conclusion were different between teams. Our action was to define a master database, a data warehouse, feed this database with daily job, and develop data visualization portal with open source solutions, PostgreSQL, Talent Job, Superset. Benefits were a unified database, up-to-date, and team confident with deliver information every day. Saturn is a company which claims its expertise, reactivity, ad hoc analysis, cost control, and wishing to create a partnership relationship with the customers. Thank you for everybody to listen to me.
Thank you, Benoit. Next startup is Up Intelligence, presented by Jorge Blanco. Jorge Blanco, CTO, Technical Director of Up Intelligence, is an electronic engineer with a master in industrial automation and IT. Since he joined Up Intelligence in 2020, he has been involved in the application of artificial intelligence techniques, including deep learning and artificial vision, to the development of chatbots, digital twins, and platforms for data analytics and prediction in a wide range of sectors. In April 2021, he has been promoted as CTO of Up Intelligence, being the main coordinator of the software and engineering projects of the company. He has been awarded with a grant from the Spanish Ministry of Science for pursuing a business PhD project in computer science. Jorge, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna share. Tell me if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
It's okay? Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. Good morning, my name is Jorge Blanco. I'm CTO of Up Intelligence, and I will describe briefly our company, values, and expertise. I hope I can convey what Up Intelligence is and who is the great high-performance team of people behind it. Well, we are a technological startup founded in 2017 with headquarters in Oviedo, Asturias. Also, in Oviedo, we have our R&D laboratory in the campus of University of Oviedo. Additionally, another branch office is located in the scientific park of the University of Valladolid. Its data center is with the highest performance standards of cybersecurity, with a certified ISO 20001, and where we store all our data and developments. Our mission is centered in 5.0 technology. What is this? Rather than a new technology, it's a philosophical evolution of the 4.0, focused in people and aimed at improving their lives. So who we are? Up Intelligence is composed by a young and multidisciplinary team, experts in a wide variety of areas, which give us an extraordinary creativity to enhance and accelerate innovation. That's why all our projects are based in incremental innovation, and also we have students of university and other professional centers. So our expertise, you can see in the screen, is based in digital twins, expert systems, data monitoring and analytics, predictions with machine learning, chatbots and virtual assistants, and optimization and GIs. So very fast, let me mention some of the success cases developed with these technologies. As for R&D innovation oriented to digital twins, we work with agri-food, industrial and waste management companies thanks to European and regional funding programs, such as AIDS 2020, S3 Food, and Open Innovation programs. So next, regarding GIs and optimization, we are able to extract the information embedded in graphics and maps with data analytics and intelligence. Some of the samples you can see it made for a city council and a public reference hospital, the optimization of the positioning of fire trucks through other emergency services for better management of situations. or the optimization of city routes like bus, cycles, etc. So last but not least, since 2 years ago, we are working in the development of chatbots and virtual assistants for different sectors. You can see them. University research centers. It's worth to mention our virtual assistant for access control and patient classification in hospitals, chatbot for training assistant in CPR, and chatbot for touristic information. So thanks at all. I would like to thank AT Virtual and CEI this opportunity, and thank all of you for your attention. You can find us in our webpage, and you have my email there.
Thank you, Jorge.
Okay, thank you.
The third panel of presentation is completed, and we will end the public session of the selection event. The closing will be carried out by Roberto Parondo. Roberto.
Okay, thank you very much. So with this pitch competition, we're going to put an end to this public part of the selection event. The selection event is going to continue, but in this case with B2B private meetings, in this case by the centers and the preselected STRAPs. On behalf of the AT Virtual project as a lead partner, I want to thank our audience for its participation, especially STRAPs, organizations, institutions, partners. And also I hope to see you all in the coming events that we are going to organize and celebrate in the framework of the project. So that's all by my side. Just to wish you to have a very nice day and take care. Okay, bye. Thank you.